Here I'm cracking in 3 whole eggs into all-purpose flour. You can also use Tipo 00 flour, along with a teaspoon of salt and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Here I'm using my fork to break up the yolks before I start whisking, and then I slowly start whisking the flour into the egg mixture. Keep going until all of the flour is mixed in, and then dump it onto a work surface to start working it together by hand. It's a little sticky at this point. After maybe 5 minutes, it's like much more pleasant to work with, and you can shape it into a ball. I covered mine with plastic wrap and I let it rest. In the meantime, I'm going to make the filling for the ravioli, starting with 1 can of pumpkin puree, followed by a, healthy scoop of ricotta, and then some mozzarella cheese and Parmesan cheese. I really just sort of eyeballed this, but it looks like maybe a quarter of a cup of each. I'm going to be adding other ingredients, but I did a little mixing for fun. Now I'm doing some freshly grated nutmeg. People really swear by freshly grated nutmeg. You can also just use powdered. Maybe like a teaspoon or so of salt. And some black pepper. I really like black pepper, so I add a lot. Then some dried sage. I also really like dried sage, so I added quite a lot. After this shot, I actually went back and added more. Adding some Aleppo chili flakes, and then some maple syrup, just a little. After that, mix it all together, and then I come back to my dough ball and I divide it into 4 pieces. It's kind of sticky, so it takes a little bit of strength with my bench scraper. And I work with 1 piece of dough at a time while covering the other 2. I take some extra flour and roll this out into like a roughly oval shape, and I'm going to take it over to my KitchenAid pasta maker. And here I'm just going to give it a pass through once. This is on the widest setting. Then I'm going to take it back and fold it into a little envelope shape and try to flatten that out so it fits through the roller, so it has some nice square sides. After that, I passed it through the same roller while decreasing the size by 1 each time. And finally, this is the last and smallest size, and this is how thin it gets. Then I'm draping the pasta sheet over the ravioli mold and trying to sort of like tuck it in. I decided to take a teaspoon and push the pasta into the indentations so that the filling would go in more easily, and I could tell how much filling I needed more easily. Here's the mixed together pumpkin filling, and I'll show a handful of me adding it in. And I don't know if you need to do this, but I did. It should just be safe. I took a silicone brush and am brushing some water in between the filling, and this is just to like give me some help when I ultimately bring this over and want the pasta to stick to itself. You could use an egg wash if you want to too, if you had that left over from something else. And I take a very flat rolling pin and put pressure down and try to get the metal underneath to show up through the pasta. After I inverted the ravioli mold and had a little bit of a difficult time pulling these apart, but I was eventually able to get them all separated. This is what they look like uncooked. I think they're pretty. I'm going to put them in some boiling water just for a few, maybe a minute and a half until they float. And then I'm using my spider to transfer them into the sauce I made, which was a brown butter sauce with lemon, pine nuts, and sweet corn. I know it doesn't look like much of a sauce, but I tossed it around so everything got coated, and I added some additional Aleppo chili flakes. And this is me serving up my portion for dinner.